Hello everybody, Sergeant Soldier here, back with How to Rust, and this is part 2 of Byter's small solo build. No. 1, 2, 3. Hello everybody, Sergeant Soldier here, back with How to Rust, and today we're looking at part 2 of Byter's solo vanilla build, and this time we're going to be applying it to a modded server. So first of all, you might notice we have our 4 honeycombed roof segments right there. And then around it, we have a much larger shape. Because this is modded, we're going to be assuming that there's going to be a lot more resources available. So we basically just went around and honeycombed one extra layer. If you want, you could continue to do this still, even further, completely up to you. The one thing, though, that I would do is in each and every one of these squares, I would do the same exact thing we did with the inside 4 squares and add all the roofs. Because eventually it's going to get to the point to where they're going to pick a way in, and they're going to happen to hit a square, and since there's a lot more squares to pick from now, the likelihood is pretty good that they're going to piss somebody off. So from here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get out of no clip because it's starting to make me nauseous. Yuck. Whoa, I fell. As you can see, things are a little different. I fell again. Come on. Start off. First and foremost, we need to start putting some floors up before I start falling into more holes. Now, remember I said to make sure you do all the roofs in these squares. Don't leave them empty like this. Feel free to leave the triangles empty because that's honestly what I would have done. But in terms of doing the squares, yeah, it's probably better that you just fill them with roofs. Let's see, add all these, add that one and that one. And obviously, we're going to leave our inner square empty because since you're on a modded server, one, you need somewhere to put a sleeping bag for your first floor, right there. Somewhere to set home, and you need somewhere to put your tool cupboard, and a ladder to be able to climb up. All right there in the center. So now, we'll just go around with our triangles, blah, 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 blah. If you would prefer to leave these open without a floor on them for really tall chambers, feel free to do that. Not everyone likes doing it that way. I'm just going to throw these up like so, just in case someone decides they want to do it. Otherwise, you guys pretty much know how to do honeycombing. So from here, we're essentially just going to keep doing this same exact thing all the way up. Like literally, like we're going to do probably 4, maybe even 5 levels of just this style of honeycombing. So I'm not going to make you guys watch all of that. Probably gonna cut most of that out, so we'll be right back. Okay, so I didn't go up the full 4 or 5 stories. I only went up 3. Basically, all you're gonna do is, the way that I did it, I did the first floor with a floor on top of it, so a roof for the first floor, and then I skipped a level and went up to the top of the 3rd floor, so we have a 1x2 chamber column of honeycombing. I like doing it that way just so that they're not able to buddy jump as easily, climbing to the base, top of the base. From here, you would add your floor level if you did it this way. If you did it the other way, you'd actually be adding the floor to the 2nd level, and then you'd be adding your next one to the 4th. So really, it just depends on how you end up doing it. They all look completely different if you decide to do it one way or the other. So, but in the end, they're pretty much going to be the same no matter what. So we're going to do this and this and this. Add all these floors in here. Like that. See? Now we leave our opening here in the center because that's where our ladder is in our tool cupboard. We need to be able to access that. Now we go around and we add our 3rd floor wall. I think we're on the 3rd floor now. This is going to be the loot room. Or at least where I decided where the loot room is. Now, depending on what your server is, if you're looking at like a times 10 server, you might need a lot more honeycombing than this. No. If you're looking at like a times 3 or maybe even a times 2, the honeycombing might not be quite as necessary because them having as much C4 isn't going to be quite as likely, but you still want a little bit. And especially coming from a modded server, I know exactly how most modded raids go, and it isn't them shooting off, 10 rockets or using 10 C4. They're shooting off 100 plus rockets, and they're almost never using C4. They're almost always using rockets. So basically what you want to do here is you want to do at least a layer of honeycombing. Can't really see it all that well. Let's see if I can fly up there. See, I got the corners there where it's got at least a layer, a little bit extra, and then getting the honeycombing over here where I'm looking right now is going to be a little difficult. You're going to have to dip into your available space just to give that extra layer there of protection. Nope, I want the hammer. Thank you. Thank you. Always start with your triangles first, something that I should have done but didn't. Like that. There we go. And that way, and that way, and that way, and that way, that way, and that way, and that way, that way, and that way. Okay. So far, so good. I think we're looking pretty good on this end. I'll fly up into the air and I'll show you what it all looks like. Now, I think we need to do this right here. Yeah, there we go. Now, hopefully, if I didn't screw this up, it'll all look the same. It looks pretty good from the inside. So let's fly up into the air. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Yeah, I like it. Now, obviously, from our last video, you know that you can add a single roof to the inside of these squares. With the way that they're built, if you're able to get inside underneath the square and look up, you might be able to add all 4 of your roofs. Especially with teleport and slash home, it might be possible, but I'm not going to do it in this video because it's going to take absolutely forever to do it. It's possible. It's just, it's very time consuming. And for those of you that want to do it, feel free to do so. Basically, it's the same as the last video where you are underneath looking straight up. You might have to build yourself a stair on your first level of honeycombing to be able to reach it, but it'll work. So anyway, it looks like we have a good honeycombing setup here for our 3rd floor. I'm going to go ahead and land now and start our loot room. So because this is a loot room, it's probably a good idea to at least close this portion in. Like so. And then a door frame. We don't want anyone that just so happens to get lucky to be able to raid us either from the top or from the bottom. We want them to pretty much be able to stop here. So not only that, if they do end up raiding us from the top, let's say they towered in and came down, we don't want them to get to our tool cupboard down there without at least having to use 2C4 to get to the door. So from here, let's go ahead and we're going to craft up... Where are my shelves? Where are my shelves? Shelves. Shelving units. Let's do... we'll start with 5. Not a bad start. Then we'll do 10 furnaces. I should have the inventory space for that. Oh, just barely. We'll have to come back and do some chests, though. Alright, so the way that I do all this is probably going to be different than you guys. I like putting my shelving units in the squares so that it still gives me enough room to be able to run all the way around. You could do it on this side, or you could do it on this side. Rubber band. It doesn't really matter all that much. It's just the way that you have a preference for it. I'm just going to put mine like this. If you absolutely want to, you could even cross them like this. Try to get it like that. There you go. You could even cross them like that, just to give yourself that extra shelf space for an upper furnace or an upper chest or whatever you want to put there. That's actually a really good idea. I'm always for that kind of stuff. So if it's something that you guys dig, then yeah, great. If it's, you're like, oh, I hate that. It's too clustered. It's too claustrophobic. Then only do one. You're the builder. You decide how you want to do this. I'm just offering you guys ideas. So let me finish up these last... Oh, I did it? Oh, I did it all. Okay, cool. So we're going to put that down. Now we're going to start filling up with furnaces. Now, a lot of people like to keep all their furnaces in the same spot so they can access them all pretty quickly. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, when it comes to furnaces, if they're rocketing and they happen to pick the right wall, we don't want our furnace sticking through. So you got to be very careful about making sure the back of the furnace isn't poking all the way through the wall. And that's probably a good spot right there. And that's hopefully a good spot. Now, if you guys saw the video that I did for the furnace room, the exterior furnace room, there's 2 ways you could do this. You could either do the bottom like this in the back, or you could do the top in the back. Completely up to you how you want to do it. A lot of people like doing the top in the back just so that it gives you like a little bit more sightline room, because having the tops in the front feels a little cramped, right? But it's also the same for having the bottoms in the front. It feels just as equally cramped, so it's really what you guys prefer. As you can see here, I have 8 furnaces sitting right there, and if I absolutely wanted to, we could squeeze out 2 more, like sitting on the floor here. Make sure they're not poking through. Just like, oh, that one's poking through. Don't let it poke through. Just like that, we now have 10 furnaces sitting in our loot room. Not too bad. That's a lot of charcoal production. So now we have some open space. Get rid of that ladder for now. Let's get some chests. Oh, I don't want 301. We're going to do first aid chests, and we're going to do 10 of them. Yeah, I like it. That leaves us 6 for the ammo. Alright. Now, placing chests, everybody does it a different way. No one's going to do it the same way for every base, so if you have a certain way you like doing your chests, by all means, go ahead and do it. Let me up onto there. Thank you. So, my way of doing it is I like to do 1 sticking out and 1 not sticking out. So, it looks like the way that we have this set up, it's going to be better to have this one going long ways, of course. Going long ways. So it's a little difficult to get it so it's not poking through. That actually came out wonderfully. Give me the ammo. Thank you. So now we're going to try to get this one to do the same exact thing. And I want to try to get it as close as I can to the other one. How's that? Oh, that actually, I think that's pretty good. I think I might have done it. This also leaves us a little bit of room, if you don't have these skin chests, to put signs on the front of both of them. If you do have the skin chests and you love them like I do, then you're good. You're golden. So we're gonna do another one like this. On the bottom, it's a whole lot easier. It's just the top that's really annoying. So we're doing it like that. We now have 4 chests in this tight area. If you wanted to, we might be able to squeeze a furnace back there. Let's see if we can. We'll craft 2 of them. Now I might have to remove the chests. Oh, look at that. I don't even have to remove the chests. And you just go underneath there, grab it, do what you gotta do. Enough said. Can I get up there? Can I get up there? Thank you. Alright. Can I do 1 more? 1 more? Maybe. Maybe. Maybe not. Is it because of this chest right here that's sticking too far in? Okay, that's fine. So we are able to actually squeeze an extra furnace in there. That's pretty cool. I like that. Now, going all the way around, it's going to be the same. You could label these however you want them. You could use all the same chests, like the first aid and the ammo. You could do all furnaces. You could do whatever you want. Whatever you want. So another thing that a lot of people like to add, like to do a campfire just so they can cook some food. There's a million and one places you could put it. You could put it at the end of each of the shelving units. You could put it, I don't know, inside of a shelving unit. You can put it pretty much wherever you want. It's completely up to you how you want to do it. I threw that ladder down, didn't I? Let's get rid of all these chests, because we no longer need these. We pretty much have a design for our loot room. I think you guys pretty much understand it. Get rid of all this stuff. We now need a ladder, because we need to get the hell out of this loot room. And I like putting mine on the other side of the door frame, because sometimes raiders like to blow door frames instead of doors. And what's going to end up happening is if they blow this door frame instead of the door, so it's easier for them to jump up, they're going to blow this ladder, and they're going to be able to look at our next floor, but it's going to be a little bit harder to access it. So, personally, with the loot room, I like to keep it to height, I guess you could say, so that there isn't a floor directly above it. So what we're going to end up doing is we're going to go all the way around like this and build our floor on the next one up. So I'm not going to make you guys watch that. I'm going to cut almost all that out. So we'll be right back. Okay, so we finished our honeycombing. We are now at our 5th floor, the top level. This is where we're going to be shooting from. So if we look inside here, we are 2 whole floors up. There's our loot room. Hi, loot room. We jump down. We have 2 ladders here. Honestly, if you want, you could probably remove this second ladder, but there really isn't a point. They've already gotten to your loot room if they raided this far. Getting up to the top where there's going to be a bunch of dead bodies from them shooting you off the roof, probably not going to be that big of a deal. So, honestly, I don't see the point of removing the ladders. But you do need somewhere to shoot from, and you need it to be safe. So we have ourselves a nice convenient base over there. Let's just pretend that's the raid base. They're shooting from that. What we want to do is we want to set up a window and a wall alternating, like so. What this is doing is it gives us a little bit of cover, just enough that we're not going to get completely blasted by their snipers or rocket launcher people, but it gives us a little bit of room to shoot from. So, like that. See? Now, instead of doing windows, some people like doing doorways as well. It's completely up to you how you want to do it. A lot of the times, I just like doing windows because I feel like there's more cover. I don't know. It's up to you. People like doing doorways because it's indented more, so they're able to pop in and out like that a lot better, as opposed to having to do it over here. However you want to do it, just do it. So I'm just going to throw windows into here because that's just easiest. And then just like any sniper tower, shooting tower, we go ahead and we'll take our wood shutters and whatever embrasure you want to use. I like using both the metal and the horizontal, or not the metal, the vertical and the horizontal ones in different situations. So for example, if we're looking at that base there and we want to be able to shoot whoever's at that base both on the ground and on the roof, maybe using the vertical will be better. That way we can look up and down. But over here, we don't necessarily need to look up and down. Maybe we only want to scan the horizon or scan the beach line. So we'll instead use a horizontal. We can see everything down there. We don't necessarily need to see what's up there in the sky, and down there in the water isn't all that much of a threat to us, potentially. So it's not that big of a deal. If you have alternating doorways, you might even have a doorway where you can see everything from the ground level, like this. So having this vertical is going to be a really good idea. That way, maybe your head won't get shot out. Who knows? There's a lot of different uses for this kind of stuff. And then I like putting shutters on some of them too. Like that. It's also something good to use. You can shoot out. I just want bang, bang, bang. And shut them again. They only have 200 health. They're not all that strong. They're made of wood, but they're cheap. And if you're looking for cheap, let's say you're out of stone or out of metal, you make these out of wood. So anyway, that's pretty much it. There isn't a whole lot more to this base. You guys know how to build shooting areas and shooting towers, sniper towers and whatnot. Probably a whole lot better than I do. I just shoot. I let everybody else do the majority of the building for me because when I am playing, I'm on my Smurf, and I don't play my Smurf very much, so he doesn't have a whole lot of stuff on him. All he does is shoot the gun. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this build. It was a little different than the original build done by Byter, but we had to apply it to the modded servers. We had to beef it up a little bit. It isn't a cheap build anymore. It's very, very expensive. However, it's still something that a lot of people will really enjoy playing with because it does offer a lot of honeycombing. And if you fill those squares like we did originally on our first floor, and we saved ourselves a lot of time by not filling them, it'll definitely make it a little bit more rocket intensive to penetrate the base. If they get lucky and they hit the triangles, maybe not quite as much, but you're still looking at 3 walls of triangles, if not more, because of the extra honeycombing. So I think it'll all still work out pretty well. So, Sergeant Solj, How to Rust. This was Byter's little tanky base that grew up, and it's now a big tanky base. And we'll see you in the next How to Rust video. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching How to Rust, a series for new players to the game of Rust. If you have any ideas for future episodes that could be useful to new players, please feel free to leave a comment in the comments section of this video.